Okay, I'm going to be creating a series of videos on emergency preparedness or disaster preparedness. It's intended for friends and family who may be interested in the subject. I'm going to be talking about why to prepare, how I've prepared, the various concepts and ideas of how to survive or how to be better off during certain circumstances or situations. I'm going to be talking about the bug out mentality, which is, if something happens, you can grab your backpack and go out, live out in the wilderness. I'm going to be talking about the concept of staying put during a disaster and protecting what you have. And I'm going to be talking about economic factors. Economic and political factors, how they can affect you, what you should do to prepare. So I'm going to try to spread this out over a number of videos. First, I'm going to talk about why should you prepare. There's a number of good reasons why you should be prepared. One of the most obvious is for natural disasters. There could be a tornado, an ice storm, a flood, what's called coronal mass ejection, which is when the sun flares up. It can take out communications, parts of the power grid. There could be an infectious pandemic, which shuts down a city, a state, or a nation. It can, these disasters can occur on various levels, affecting various numbers of people, but if you're caught in the middle of it, you want to have some preparedness. A little bit goes a long way, and that's what I'm going to be talking about here. As well, why you should be prepared are for hard times. You could be laid off at work, or you could have other personal hardships. Somebody, either yourself or someone in your family may become sick, which could lead to a loss of income, and you need to have ways to kind of buffer that loss. There could be economic slowdowns, rising prices, or unexpected expenses, like even something small like a parking or a traffic ticket. If you're maxed out on a month-to-month basis, with bills, visa bills, this and that, a parking ticket or a speeding ticket can be, a couple $100 that you don't have. So having other resources built up to rely on, like food and water and that kind of stuff, can make these times easier for you. As well, even having money put aside if possible. Another reason to prepare are infrastructure problems. This can be like a long-term power outage. These systems are maintained by people. Anything can happen. There's, not every situation is thought out, and that's why we've had, blackouts that can last days. Some things take a while to repair. There could be telecommunications outages as well. In any of these kind of disasters, you almost always lose your cell phone's ability to make a call because the tower is being overloaded. The local telephone exchanges are being overloaded. Even your landline phone may not work. These are possibilities. Another infrastructure problem could be something to do with the food distribution network. All this food that we consume has to come from somewhere. It's really apparent when you live in a city. You're surrounded by concrete. This food has to come from somewhere, and it's dependent on oil to fertilize it, to run the tractors through it, and then to ship it 2,000 miles to your city. That's the global network. Everything is globalized, and it's all based on oil to process it and even to distribute it to where you are. A rise in oil price could cause some serious issues with the food distribution network. There's also other reasons to prepare, like political uncertainty. Our freedoms are being restricted every day with the excuse of terrorism and all that since 9/11. The government itself has become less reliable with higher government debts and less public services. Then you got political issues like wars going on, where Iran is going to be the next Iraq. They're already they're already drumming up the war. What's the next excuse? You can hear it on the news. It's going to be the Iranian nuclear program or whatever. It has they haven't cooperated in this way or that way, so therefore we better preemptively strike. It's going to happen for various reasons. The least of which is probably actual security from the threat of Iran. As well, the Eurozone seems to be falling apart. Greece is on fire. They've put in austerity measures to try and keep the lid on it. They're, I don't know what's going to happen over there, but you got Italy, Spain, they're next. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Eurozone, but I know that in a global economy, what happens over there can affect us over here. Another reason to prepare is economic uncertainty. All of the above, all the other reasons to prepare, whether natural disaster, hard times, infrastructure problems, or political uncertainty, they can all lead to economic trouble. Governments have been deciding that more debt and more money printing is a solution to their problems. It's not a good thing. It's not sustainable. Since the housing crisis of 2008, the money supply, the physical pool of cash in circulation, and everything else, all the bankers' manipulations of money, fractional reserve banking, all that, the money supply since 2008 has tripled. The costs, that's the definition of inflation. We're going to see inflation because it's going to catch up with us. The amount of money that's been printed is going to have, it's going to become apparent soon, especially with the rising prices of oil. When you have all this free cash flow floating around, loans are easy to get, especially for investors. They're going to be taking all this money and putting it somewhere secure. They're going to invest it in oil. They know we need oil. This is going to push the price of oil up, for example. So there's all kinds of unintended consequences of printing money, and it just doesn't make sense. You can't get your way out of debt problems by getting into more debt or by printing money. It's not the right solution. So there's economic uncertainty out there. We don't know what's going to happen or how much things are going to cost in the future. So that's another reason why we need to be prepared. So I'm going to wrap that up. This is the first video in a series of probably 5 videos. And that's why you should prepare. In my next video, I'm going to go over some of the things that I've done to prepare. I'm going to see if I can show you a bit of the equipment and supplies that I've gathered, and talk about the different philosophies of what to do in an emergency. Thanks a lot.